Click that like and subscribe button and go sign up on superchargedstocks.com and let's keep you notified. Good morning, everyone. It's Andrew with Supercharged Stocks. So today it's always a pleasure to catch up with the chairman and CEO of Guanajuato Silver, James Anderson. And just as a preface, you'll remember James from VanGold. This is the same company, so I don't want anyone getting confused. We do a lot of video here. We reach out to friends all the time, but this is the same company. What a year between milestones, accomplishments, things that get done. It's hard for people to truly understand how much has been accomplished in such a short period of time. So I was hoping you could kind of quickly walk us through that to where we are today, and then the scope and scale of what's coming and what's happening.
Thanks, Andrew. Thanks for having me on. And I think that's an excellent question, an excellent kind of lead in. From last year in June of 2020, we did a 1,000-ton bulk sample with Endeavour Silver on our Pinguico project. That went very well. We then did a bunch of channel sampling at Pinguico that was good. The stock went up. We raised some money. We then were afforded the opportunity from Endeavour to have a look at their El Cubo mine and mill. We did a very deep dive in terms of our due diligence and decided to purchase that asset for $15 million, US kind of dollars. We raised a bunch of money in equity in the spring, did a PEA, started drilling some very interesting exploration holes over at Pinguico, but we have moved swiftly to revamp the mill at El Cubo. Mining started at El Cubo about 2 or 3 weeks ago. Blasting starts today. And we will be pre-commissioning the mill probably first week in October. So we're on track, on time, on budget to put the mill and the mine back into full production. Well, I say full production as per our model, and then ramp up into the spring of 2022, where we will, again, according to our model, be producing something like 50,000 ounces of silver per quarter.
Yeah. So huge development from when we first were talking about El Pinguico, which was
per month.
Per month. Yes. So when we were first talking about Pinguico, which had a really interesting model, you could see there was a lot of kind of waste rock with lots of material that you wanted to test, and that was an exciting enough model. And we were kind of looking at, hey, look, there's mills close by, there's lots of stuff going on around here. To then people, it's hard when you showed me the latest update when you're down there 2 weeks ago or so, and you see the scope and the scale of what you have now. It's amazing amount of work to get all that cleaned up, ready to go and working, and all the pieces put together during COVID, to also all the permits, all the rights, and also having, like, the mayor very excited about the name of the company and the trajectory, revamping and getting the city and community behind a lot going on.
Yeah, I mean, so many of the things that you touch on, Andrew, really just happened in the last few weeks. I was there for 2 weeks, having the local mayor of Guanajuato and about a dozen of his department heads come over so that we could introduce the project. We could, we sat down and had lunch with all of those folks. As you mentioned, he was very happy about our company being called Guanajuato Silver. From his perspective, I think he thinks that that's a good marketing tool for him and the city. So that's interesting and cool and fun. But he's there because we are now a pretty big employer in the district. We've hired 150 people directly. There's another 100 people who are working for our mine contractors, so we got 250 people. Our drillers on site, there's probably 25 folks working with that company. So, all of a sudden it's a big employer. And of course, we've got a lot of spin-off jobs that are related to that too. So, that's an interesting anecdote, but we also take that as a responsibility now, and that puts our company into a different category, I think.
For sure. And that's, I don't want to, I hesitate to use percentages, but this is very much Mexican employees as well. It's a lot from Guanajuato, but also the state, but just, it's a lot of the country's work being put back. It's not, flying in 100 Canadians to do the work.
Yeah, well, we're very, very proud of that as well. We're called Guanajuato Silver for a reason.
Yeah.
And if you look at our board of directors, which has 2 Mexican nationals on it, but also if you look at the management team, so of the 150 people who are working in Guanajuato, 149 of them are Mexican. There's one guy who was from Canada originally. That's Rob Sedgmore. He's worked throughout Latin America. He's our director of mill commissioning and has international experience with this sort of thing. He's a process engineer. So, we're using Rob's very specific talents and experience. But all of the managers from, all of the various divisions within the company, they're all Mexican. Many of them, and there's kind of subsets of the stuff that I'm talking about here right now, but about 50 of the people are graduates of the University of Guanajuato, which is kind of a famous mining school in Mexico. About 50 people, not, like I say, it's kind of a Venn diagram of all these things, right?
Sure.
But there's about 50 people of the 150 who have, maybe more than that, who have worked at El Cubo in the past, mostly under Endeavor. So it's one thing to be able to hire people with, Mexican experience or experience within the region, but it's different again to be able to hire people who have experience on the mine, in the mill.
Yes.
That we are putting back into production. Our ability to be able to take material both from our original Pinguico project and El Cubo and combine those to put that mineralized material through the mill on an ongoing basis, right from about 4 to 6 weeks from now.
There's so many hurdles that have to be jumped over, met, and discussions to be had, that all of this is done. It's all done. Like, you've got the support of the community. They're stoked. Like, it's not a matter of
Let me jump in there for a second, because I think it's a really interesting point. There's a lot of Canadian, American, British, Australian companies who always talk about, well, we have the support of the community.
Yeah.
We don't have the support of the community. We are the community.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah.
Gerardo Dorado is our country manager. He's been living and working in Guanajuato for years and years and years. He's got 44 years experience working in Mexico. Hernan, he's worked all over the world, but he's a graduate of the University of Guanajuato. He is the community. We are the community. Everybody that we've hired, they are the community. So it's not me, the CEO, trying to get a social license there.
No,
it's totally the opposite.
Yeah, and that's key too, is the management and the ability there to hit the milestones that you guys have set out and already met, which gives people, when I have a look at a model, is I always look at not necessarily the share price, but has management met expectations? Have they hit their milestones? And without a doubt, that's true. Even if someone was aggressively forecasting how fast you can get some of this done, it is amazing. And it was for someone like myself to see the video, to see it coming along, to see the size of the operation. It really puts it into this perspective.
The very first time that I went to Guanajuato, I quickly understood that there were 4 mills within about 30 kilometers of one another. None of them were fully being utilized. And I thought to myself, well, this is a perfect example of a mining community that needs some mining business consolidation within it. I think that our purchase of El Cubo can be our first step in that. We're called Guanajuato Silver for a reason. It's a 480-year-old mining camp. There's all kinds of assets that are stranded. Maybe they need a mill, or maybe they need tailings facility that we can help in that regard. So in the future and in the near future, I thoroughly expect to be able to take advantage of that. And I think we can take advantage of it in a couple of different ways. Some of those assets are owned by publicly traded companies, of which, I can have a dialogue with, but a number of the assets are also owned locally by local families or local businesses. And I think that our team in Guanajuato has a better chance of being able to negotiate a good business deal, Mexican business person to Mexican business person, without me necessarily getting involved in that process.
Yeah, the amount of goodwill that you're building up in that community is great, and that does go a long way, particularly with locally owned, family owned ones. They'll see that you're doing it right, what you're doing for the community, for the town, for the whole region. That goes a very long way for people. It really does. I mean, it's like when we say that a lot of this sector is about relationships. It's people. Great people that have had success are attracted to great projects, which are attracted to great money. So you need all of it. It's the same thing in the town, is that if they see, wow, these guys they care about our town, they care about the city, they care about the people, and they're hiring the people. It goes a very long way.
Yeah, well, so our latest addition to our board of directors is Ramon Davila. I've mentioned Ramon's name on this show in the past. We're very proud to have Ramon associated with the team and on the board of directors. I think maybe what some people don't realize is how involved Ramon, and for people that don't know the name, Ramon was instrumental in First Majestic's success over the last 15 years. When he joined that team on the board of directors and as chief operating officer, that company had zero production. And when he left, it had 12 million ounces of silver production per year. And then he got into politics. For 4 years, he was the economy minister for the state of Durango. But Ramon's very much involved, embedded in our company here at this point. When I was there for a couple of weeks, Ramon was in Guanajuato from his home in Durango for about 4 days. He spent 3 hours underground at El Cubo, and it warms my heart when a guy as experienced as Ramon can tell me, yeah, James, look, the mine looks great. The ventilation that we've installed is working well. The contractors, are doing everything professionally. The mine planners are right on top of it, and big thumbs up from Ramon Davila. That gives me a lot of confidence that we are very, very much on track.
Yeah, and that highlights the fact that once again the team done it before, the vast experience that would give people a lot of credibility isn't quite the right word, but it was what attracted me to this whole sector was these severely undervalued companies. And believe me, I've always talked about there's lots of lifestyle out there. There's ones that aren't necessarily going anywhere, but ones that have management and directors that have done significant things that are embedded in projects that someone would look and go, how, what were they attracted to? Well, that's the question. Why are they getting involved? Because they can see from their experience where this potentially can go.
Yeah, and Ramon sees that. I mean, Ramon is not just a good miner, right? I mean, he's been involved with billion-dollar public companies for a long time, and what he sees is very much, my notion, being able to use El Cubo as a platform to have a hub and spoke business operation in Guanajuato, where we can draw material from a number of different deposits over the coming years. So that's the overarching business plan.
Excellent. Well, thanks so much for catching up to speed as to all the things going on, what's happening. We're very excited about what's developing. And for anyone who is watching, you're getting it at definitely a steal. So I can say that a bit. I know people get uncomfortable sometimes, but there's very few companies out there that I can look at and feel confident and see what has been achieved, what is coming. That's literally near term. It's not a euphemism for with a team that can do it, that will produce. So this, it's a story that needs to be told. If people are looking at mining projects and they don't have to wait a long time. And they're not trying to play that curve of the exploration curve and then sitting it out for a while. This is production coming.
Yeah, that's right. I mean, it's here and now. We've got the mill, we've got the resources in place, we've got the money in place to execute that, and we have the team in place. So the only missing ingredient from an investment standpoint, one has to believe that the precious metals are going higher. I always tell people that, well, if you don't believe that the precious metals are going higher, then don't buy a silver and gold stock.
Don't do it. Yeah. But listen, I think we've made the case over here that, with inflation happening, what we're seeing in the world out there, that we haven't really begun this super cycle. So that's my firm conviction and my belief. So I'm certainly comfortable in what you guys are doing. And more importantly, thank you so much for getting us up to speed and letting me know the opportunity here and seeing what's all being developed and what's happened, because people need to know and they need to see, and this is a great example of how things can come together so quickly, and it's a great teaching moment for people that are generalists just getting into the market to see, oh, okay, this is actual near term, this is going right now.
Yeah,
so thanks so much. So really appreciate it, James.
My pleasure. Thanks for your time.
Awesome. Thanks. All right, take care.